Hello, it's Caitlin Rasmussen. Today is June 23rd, and this is my third video entry. Alright, let's jump right in. So, what is critical theory, and how do we use critical theory to understand oppressive circumstances in the workplace? How do we understand power, hegemony, conservative control? Critical theorist is about the interests of managers and bosses being elevated over the subordinates. And we use that to understand how that oppresses workers or makes them feel less or makes the managers feel like they have a lot more control. Power is basically just who can tell others what to do or who has more control in the company or in the organization. Hegemony is people with less power tend to follow the ideas and beliefs or values of the more powerful groups. So they just kind of follow along with what the higher power people do, and they don't know why. It's pretty blind. They don't understand why they're doing it or anything like that. They just kind of do. And then conservative control is when the subordinates tend to develop those ideas and beliefs, so they just tend to follow along with them naturally, and they don't have to go against anything they believe in or anything they know. My thoughts on the Emma Watson video, I think that she had a very clear understanding of feminism from a very young age, and I thought it was a pretty inspiring video, and I thought it was good that she didn't just point out that women need equal rights, but that also men do, that they should be allowed to, be sensitive, and women should be allowed to be, powerful and be able to stand up for their own thoughts and beliefs. And as a person who is as a woman who is not a sensitive person, and I know a lot of men that are, I think that her speech was very important to taking steps towards that being okay. Me not being a sensitive girly girl, and my best friend being a super sensitive man, and not being called homosexual or anything derogatory because of it, just being himself and being okay with it. In the workplace culture of fear, how does it highlight the need to understand organizational culture, the importance of understanding critical theory's perspective as an employee? I liked this article because it was just very clear and to the point, and I liked that it brought up the Richie Incognito situation, because I remember when that was happening, that was a pretty big deal, because you think about locker rooms being like rough places, and they, just that they're tough guys and they're always doing things like that, but the fact that somebody was actually like offended by it and didn't take it well shows that it shouldn't be acceptable. I like all of the bullet points that it gives, that when bad behavior is not visibly confronted. I think that's a good topic to talk about, because when someone does something wrong, a lot of people are like, oh, it's okay. It's just how he is. It's just how he is. But that shouldn't be how people are. People should respect other people and listen to their opinions and not be that guy, And I liked the compensation, incentives, and promotions are based on results and not results in behavior. Because I've seen a lot of times where people are very successful in their jobs, but they're not good leaders, and doesn't set a good example for the company and for the people below them. So it's best to have, like, in cheerleading we always have captains, and when you have a captain that is really good, but they don't like pay attention to the other, or they're not nice to the other people, or they aren't interested in the team as a whole, they're just interested in themselves, it doesn't work very well that way. So it's best to reward people based off how they act and getting results. And the explosions from one or more top leaders is prevalent in negative organizations. Also, I've had people that are like the heads of, like the guy that was the head of the company I worked for, the lawyer. He would just like go off sometimes and get really angry and wouldn't communicate well, and it was hard to be around, and that's why I left that job. communication is really important to have both ways. Like the fifth bullet point on here, that communication is poor or one way. I think it's really important that no matter if it's good or bad information, it is being communicated about, and that it goes both ways. That the boss listens to ideas of the subordinates, and then they also have to listen to their boss, obviously. All right. I tried to watch the Netflix video, but it kept saying it wouldn't work. I don't know if it's my computer or the link was bad or what, but I couldn't get it to come up. It just said 404, not found. In the case study, I think the ultimate lesson was that people need to, there needs to be better communication. So, like, they didn't want to communicate with the people that were lower in the company because they didn't want to scare them or freak them out or something. Or they just wouldn't understand it, but I think that the best way for them to understand, for the people that are lower to understand what is going on, is to know about it. They can't just, be okay with everything if they don't know what's going on. There could be a lot of issues going on, them not know about it, and that causes rumors to fly and people to not really know what's going on. Have I ever been in a situation where I did not represent myself accurately when applying and interviewing for a job? I haven't really, but I've only had a couple jobs. Working for the lawyer, I was just an assistant, so I just had to talk about mostly my schedule and my work ethic, and I tend to work pretty hard, so I didn't really have to fabricate anything there. Then for the Texans, that job was more of a tryout, not as much of a job. And any interview I had to do was just about, my interest and if I like football, and really easy questions that I didn't need to, lie about at all. And then working for Hollister, I was like 16. And I think maybe in that interview I probably acted more mature than I actually was and acted like I was, ready for a job, but I probably wasn't ready for that job. Have I ever been hired by an organization and they misrepresented my role in the company? No, but again, I haven't had many jobs. And for Hollister, it was very straightforward. You work on the floor and you fold clothes. For the Texans, you're a cheerleader and you do stuff in the community. So I don't know if they ever misrepresented my role in the company, but they definitely made us seem like we were a big part of it when really we weren't that big of a part of it. But it wasn't bad. It was nice. It was really great. It was a really great job to have. And then working for the lawyer, I was just an assistant, so my role was basically get coffee for people and staple papers. So the reason people probably embellish their application materials is because they want to seem more qualified for a job. They want the people that are hiring them to be, okay, this person has all the qualities we're looking for. Even if they don't actually have them, they're going to put it down because they want the job so bad. And it can backfire because then they get there and they're not who they say they were, and the company probably won't take it well. I don't really know. It's never happened to me. What perception would a potential employer have of you after viewing results from Google searching your name? Have you ever searched your name? How often do you search your name? See, this is kind of a weird one for me. So most of the stuff that comes up when you Google my name is about, when I was in the Texans, I got asked to prom by a senior in high school, and I went to prom with him, and it kind of made national news. So a lot of what comes up about that, what comes up when you search my name is about that, or it comes up about me being a Texans cheerleader, or things about cheerleading. But there's two bad articles that come up. There's one where somebody, it sounds really bad, but I was a bartender in Austin, and some girl that didn't like me down there posted this really bad article, or sent it into some dirty website, I don't know, and wrote all these negative things about me, which none of them are true. And so that comes up, and then the next one that comes up is my mom had sent an email asking them to take it down because I was only 17 at the time, or 18 or something, and I hadn't seen it yet, and it was inappropriate and inaccurate, and so they posted her email up on the website, and that's kind of a negative thing that would come up if somebody could search my name. And I don't search it very often, but I have, and I did whenever I read this question. And so no, not all the information is accurate, but a lot of it has to do with the Houston Texans stuff that I did. Okay. So I think a reason that a superior would deliberately engage in strategic ambiguity is, one second, I lost it. Is that they want to promote positive outcomes. They leave things out, and they kind of contribute to the semantic information distance, where there's a gap in the understanding between the other people, and it's not, I don't know, it doesn't really seek, I'm reading this off the PowerPoint, it doesn't seek to mislead or damage, but it does, because they're not giving all the information, and they're causing stress and things, but they're just trying to leave out information so that the subordinate doesn't really feel like there's a lot going on, or they don't get overwhelmed. And then I think that the subordinate would do the same to the superior, because maybe there's something that they don't think the superior is going to like, and they don't want to tell them, so they want to just give them the good news so that it's a positive report, and they don't have to worry about the boss getting mad. So upward distortion is when subordinates are hesitant to communicate negative news to the superiors. They may distort the news in order to make it seem more positive. So this is like saying, giving them the news about how a job went and not giving all the details. Kind of like ambiguity, but more like distorting it, not telling the whole truth, which again leads to the semantic information distance and the huge gap in information, because they don't know the truth, because maybe they're supposed to talk to somebody about something, and that person they talked to didn't take it well, but they did have the conversation. They may go back and say, it went okay, but not give the full detail of the negativity of the conversation or the positivity. They're scared of what the boss thinks, and so they're going to change things a little bit and tell little white lies, and it's not good. So I've definitely done upward distortion, not in a organization type of way, but with my parents, absolutely. Wrecking my car and making it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal or something. I hit somebody and I was like, oh, it's just a scratch, and I totaled my car. Not that dramatic, but sort of. The role of trust in a superior and subordinate relationship is very important, because the superior has to trust that the subordinate is going to do their job and do what they're supposed to do, and keep the best interest of the company at heart. But the subordinate has to trust in that the supervisor is going to be honest with them and tell them exactly what they're supposed to do, and keep them in the loop on information, and not hide things from them, kind of like in that case study where they were trying to hide information from the employees. And the role of immediacy is I'm reading it again. Okay. So it just kind of gives the feeling of closeness, and it makes them feel like they're a lot more connected with their subordinate or their superior. It's like asking for the subordinates' input on things, and accepting their opinions, and telling them things as soon as things happening, and it's really important, because that immediacy builds trust, and it builds almost like a family feel, rather than just boss and worker. And I think that that's very important.